bigger and more mixed, but in India, prides are all made up of females and they're young, with mature males only joining briefly to mate, or if there's a big kill on offer. But males aren't always solitary. Sometimes they'll form like bachelor groups where 3 or 4 males band together. Of course, the Asiatic lion is also smaller in stature to the African lion, and that's mainly down to what they feed on. They feed on they mainly prey on large and small mammals such as deer, wild boar, and antelope. But they have been known to prey on livestock like cattle and even go for humans when food is scarce. Asiatic lions hunt in an almost similar way to their African cousins, where the pride will encircle their prey, creeping around the herd of their chosen prey, which is usually done through long grass or around trees. And once they get close enough, they attack. But once the lions attack, they need to end the battle as quickly as they can, because their prey can run faster than them in an all-out chase, and so they have to be able to catch their prey quickly. And once they get it, they either fish it off with a bite to the throat or the back of the neck. Of course, the Asiatic lion is also known as the lions of ancient Greece and the Bible. These are said to be the lions that Androcles and Daniel faced. The same lions that the Romans have set upon the Christians and gladiators in the Colosseum. What the ancient Greeks portrayed the Nemean lion that Hercules fought and slayed. But they are also, unfortunately, the very last of this ancient, magnificent race. Asiatic lions once stretched from northwest India right across the Middle East and into Europe as far as Greece and even across the Mediterranean. But, unfortunately, the Asiatic lion, by the middle of the 20th century, was all but exterminated through much of its historic range. They were hunted in the 1830s to the 1840s, and during the Indian Rebellion in 1857, a British officer was said to have killed 300 lions. The last lions in Gwalior and Rewa were shot in the 1860s. But now the only place that these lions are found is the Jaguar Forest National Park. Although there is hope, because recently, Asiatic lions have been brought back to Iran in the Middle East, which was one of their old strongholds. And they are slowly starting to spread to other parts of their historic range. And of course, the Asiatic lion is an animal that many people want to see in the wild, but one of the only place to see them properly in the wild is the Jaguar Forest National Park in northwest India. And of course, there's only about 500 to 23 individuals left in the wild. And so they are vulnerable in the wild. I mean, not just to poaching and wildlife conflict, but even a natural disaster like an outbreak of canine dyspraxia or Ebola or malaria or rabies or even a forest fire could wipe out the last of the Asiatic lions in the wild. So it is vital that we build breeding populations in captivity. But of course, with recent conservation efforts, such as bringing them back to parts of the Middle East like Iran and Iraq, there is hope that we could save this magnificent species from extinction. This is their range, of course that was their historic range, but right now they are only found here in northwest India, but they are slowly coming back to the rest of their range. Now, for the last two cats, I'm going to take you all to South America. Now, the first one is probably the most powerful big cat of the modern day, the Jaguar. Jaguars are the largest big cats found in the Americas. A fully grown male can be just over 2 meters long and twice as heavy as me. They have canine teeth about the length of my thumb, but they also have the most powerful bite of any cat, which I will get to in a minute. Jaguars are found in South and Central America, as well as some parts of Mexico and the southeast of the USA. But they are very difficult to find and are one of South America's most dangerous animals to humans. And jaguars feed on a wide range of things. They feed on fish, monkeys, capybara, peccary pigs, as well as tapirs, which are their favourite prey, but they will even take on anacondas, crocodiles, caimans, and unfortunately they have been known to take livestock like cattle. Jaguars are hard to find in the wild for many reasons. One of the reasons is because it is the master of the shadows, which means it is an animal that's very good at not being seen, but also just because humans have destroyed their habitats and they've been persecuted by man. So that's why they're difficult to find in the wild, but they have been making a recovery. As I mentioned before, with the tiger, jaguars are a lot like tigers and the fishing cats about how they feel around water, because while many cats don't like water, the jaguar loves the water. It's where they go to keep cool during the heat of the day, but it's also somewhere they can hunt for prey like anacondas, crocodiles, caimans, pretty much anything that is either inland, on land or in the water is not safe from this cat. And when I said the jaguar is probably the most powerful big cat of all, well, that's all down to the way it kills its prey. As I mentioned before with the other cats, a lot of them kill their prey by going for the throat or the back of the neck, but not the jaguar. If you look at the bulk of the head of a jaguar, it's very broad and very thick set, and because it has the most powerful bite of any big cat, and that's because it kills its prey by biting right through the back of the skull and into the brain of its prey. And if you think that's frightening, because it can even bite through the thick skulls of wild pigs like peccary. Although, if you think that's frightening, imagine how much less force it would need to bite into a human skull. And that is quite scary. The best place to see a jaguar in the wild is the Pantanal in South America, which is the largest wetland on the planet. Although the likelihood of you seeing a jaguar is far from guaranteed. But that is a good place to look for them. Male and female jaguars will only interact when it's time for them to mate and produce offspring. And of course, quite often males will fight each other for the best territories, for food, or for breeding rights. Jaguars do much of their hunting at night, because that's another reason why they're so difficult to see, because a lot of the time they hunt at night, because where they live in South America, it can be very, very hot during the day. So a lot of them prefer to come out at night when it's a lot cooler. Of course, like all nocturnal animals, they have a reflective layer of cells at the back of their eyes that enhance their night vision, and that means the jaguar's sight is 6 times better than ours. And once they've made a kill, once they find their prey, they just tackle it to the ground, kill it with a quick bite to the back of the head, and it can last them for about 2 or 3 days. And Jaguar, like many big cats around the world, are now in terrible trouble because of us humans. And there are many reasons for that, from habitat loss and illegal poaching, but the worst is human-wildlife conflict with ranchers, and of course, where jaguars quite often live near cattle ranches, because quite often the ranchers have killed a lot of their prey, and so the jaguars resort to basically killing cattle. This in turn angers the ranchers, and they just go out and shoot the jaguars. But there are people working to try and stop this conflict with things like putting bells on the cows, which show the jaguars hear and know that it's not going to be worth eating, so they go and find something else. But also, with help from people like WWF, and as well as breeding populations in captivity, we could be able to save this master of the shadows from disappearing forever. So that is the range of the jaguar. As you can see before, in the past, they were very widespread across the Americas. And hopefully, they can come back to see some of their historic range. The final one I'm going to show you is probably the most widespread big cat. It's the most widespread big cat in the Americas, as well as the largest ranging land predator, the puma. Pumas are a little bit like a leopard, but they are slightly bigger and stronger. In fact, a puma would be about the same size and weight as an adult man, as a fully grown man, but we'd be no match for them in a fight. Puma is found in both North, Central and South America, but these pumas live in the Andes mountain range, and the best place to see them in the wild is the Torres del Paine National Park, that is right at the southern tip of South America in Patagonia. And in the Andes, the puma is the top predator, and they're a vital part of the mountain ecosystem, but their behaviour has been very little studied. Although a lot of scientists are quite sure they know what the pumas do during the day. They sleep, but what a puma does at night is a different story. And of course, in the Andes, the puma's food of choice is this guanajo, which is a relative of the camel, as well as the continent's most challenging prey. When I say challenging, a fully grown guanajo can stand 2 meters tall, are 3 times the weight of an adult puma, and they're constantly alert, almost impossible to catch during the day, but at night the tables are turned. With very poor night vision, they are vulnerable to a puma. And that is when the puma is best seen hunting for food.